We humans are drawn to belief systems. They offer comfort, purpose, and a sense of belonging. But what happens when those beliefs demand absolute devotion? This is the reality faced by members of the Sea Org. Founded in 1967, Scientology has always courted controversy. Its teachings promise spiritual enlightenment, but behind the veneer lies a rigid hierarchy. Members of the Sea Org are the elite, the vanguard of Scientology's mission. They dedicate their lives to the church, signing billion-year contracts. Their commitment is absolute, their lives consumed by the church's demands. But what are those demands, and at what cost do they come? In this exploration of the Sea Org, we will delve into the hidden world of its members, uncovering the sacrifices they make, the control they endure, and the harrowing challenges they face when they choose to break free. The Sea Org sets itself apart from other religious orders with its paramilitary structure and unwavering discipline. Members wear naval-inspired uniforms, follow a strict code of conduct, and are subject to a level of control that is both fascinating and disturbing. They work grueling hours, often 7 days a week, for meager pay, believing their efforts are crucial to Scientology's global mission. Their lives are governed by L. Ron Hubbard's policies, which dictate everything from their daily routines to their personal relationships. Communication with the outside world, especially those critical of Scientology, is strictly forbidden. Family visits are limited, and any form of dissent is met with swift and often severe consequences. The Sea Org justifies its demanding structure as necessary for achieving its spiritual goals. They believe that by freeing themselves from distractions and dedicating themselves entirely to Scientology, they are working towards a greater good, a world without war, crime, and insanity. But the cost of this dedication is immense. Former members have spoken out about the psychological manipulation, the physical and emotional abuse, and the relentless pressure to conform. They describe a culture of fear and intimidation, where questioning the leadership or expressing doubt can lead to isolation, punishment, and even expulsion. Joining the Sea Org often means severing ties with the outside world. Members are encouraged to disconnect from family and friends who are not part of Scientology, believing they hinder their spiritual progress. This isolation makes it even more difficult for those who decide to leave, as they are left with few, if any, support systems. The financial implications of leaving are also dire. Sea Org members receive minimal compensation for their work, often just a few dollars a week. They are provided with basic necessities like food and housing, but have little to no personal savings. Upon leaving, they are often left destitute, struggling to afford even the most basic necessities. Yet, despite the hardships, a growing number of individuals are choosing to escape the Sea Org's grasp. Their stories, often harrowing and heartbreaking, shed light on the true cost of leaving this secretive and controversial organization. In the following segments, we will delve deeper into the lives of these former members, exploring their journeys, their struggles, and their fight to reclaim their freedom. To understand the Sea Org's grip, we must examine its powerful indoctrination process. From the moment of interest, individuals are subjected to a system designed to mold their beliefs and identities. It begins with personality tests and courses promising self-discovery and enlightenment. These courses introduce L. Ron Hubbard's teachings as the ultimate solution. The language is esoteric, creating a sense of exclusivity and superiority. Members undergo hours of study, lectures, and group sessions. They are taught to distrust critical thinking and view the outside world as hostile. Information bombardment, sleep deprivation, and social pressure create fertile ground for indoctrination. The Sea Org targets young, idealistic individuals, often recruiting them straight out of high school. These recruits seeking purpose are vulnerable to the organization's allure. The indoctrination process ensures members remain loyal and committed. The commitment required of Sea Org members is absolute, symbolized by the billion-year contract they sign upon joining. While often dismissed as symbolic, this contract represents a very real and binding agreement that severs members from conventional society and binds them to the organization's will. Life within the Sea Org is one of strict discipline and unwavering obedience. Members adhere to a rigid daily schedule, waking up before dawn, working long hours, and attending mandatory meetings and training sessions. Their lives revolve around Scientology's goals, with little to no time for personal pursuits or leisure. The organization controls every aspect of their existence, from their work assignments and living arrangements to their relationships and even their thoughts. Communication with the outside world, particularly those critical of Scientology, is strictly monitored and often prohibited. Family visits are limited, and any contact deemed detrimental to their commitment is swiftly curtailed. The pressure to conform is immense. Members are constantly watched and evaluated by their peers and superiors. Any deviation from the prescribed code of conduct, any expression of doubt, or any criticism of the organization is met with harsh reprimands, demotions, or even worse, the dreaded label of a suppressive person. The longer individuals remain within the Sea Org, the more detached they become from the outside world. Their social circles shrink, their experiences become limited, and their understanding of current events is filtered solely through the lens of Scientology's teachings. The organization actively discourages any engagement with information or ideas that contradict its doctrines. Newspapers, television, and the internet are heavily censored, and access to outside information is tightly controlled. Members are taught to view any criticism of Scientology as malicious lies spread by suppressive persons intent on destroying the organization. This isolation creates a warped perception of reality, making it even more challenging for members to leave. They have been conditioned to believe that the outside world is a dangerous and threatening place, filled with individuals who will try to exploit or harm them. The fear of the unknown, coupled with the potential loss of their entire social structure, becomes a powerful deterrent to leaving. The Sea Org fosters a culture of dependency, ensuring that members rely solely on the organization for their physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. This dependency makes it incredibly difficult for individuals to envision a life outside its confines, leaving them feeling trapped and powerless. Leaving the Sea Org is not simply walking away from a job, it's stepping into a void, often with nothing but the clothes on your back. The financial reality is often bleak, marked by a lack of resources. Years spent dedicated to the organization translate into years without traditional employment. The meager wages leave them with no savings, confronting a world where basic necessities feel like luxuries. The transition is jarring, leaving many struggling to make ends meet. Section 2. A World Unknown: Navigating Social Isolation. The social isolation experienced by ex-Sea Org members is perhaps the most insidious and enduring consequence of their time within the organization. Years of indoctrination leave them ill-prepared for social interaction, creating a profound sense of loneliness. Imagine a life where friendships and family ties are dictated by the organization. This is the reality for Sea Org members, often left with a void where their social network once existed. Section 3. Broken Bonds: The Pain of Disconnection. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of leaving the Sea Org is the potential for severed family ties. The organization's policy of disconnection encourages members to cut off all contact with family and friends who are critical of Scientology, creating a painful rift that can be difficult, if not impossible, to repair. Imagine being forced to choose between your family and your beliefs, pressured to sever ties with loved ones who question the organization's teachings or practices. This is the agonizing dilemma faced by many Sea Org members, leaving them with a profound sense of loss and guilt. For those who leave, the pain of disconnection is compounded by the knowledge that their loved ones may still be under the influence of the organization, potentially labeling them as suppressive persons. This fear of further alienating their family prevents many ex-members from reaching out, leaving them longing for reconciliation while fearing the consequences. The emotional toll of these broken bonds is immeasurable. The loss of family support, coupled with the guilt and shame associated with disconnection, can be devastating, leaving lasting scars on the hearts and minds of those who have experienced it. Rebuilding from the rubble: A long and arduous journey. Leaving the Sea Org is the beginning of a journey of healing, self-discovery, and rebuilding. It's fraught with challenges, setbacks, and emotional turmoil. The road to recovery is rarely linear. Ex-members grapple with complex emotions: guilt, shame, anger, and confusion. Despite the challenges, there is hope. Many have successfully rebuilt their lives, finding solace in therapy and support groups. Their stories serve as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human will. Scars of indoctrination, the lingering grip of thought control. Escaping the physical confines of the Sea Org is one thing. Freeing your mind from its indoctrination is another battle entirely. The teachings, deeply ingrained through years of conditioning, don't simply vanish overnight. They linger in the subconscious, shaping thoughts and influencing decisions. Imagine a life where critical thinking was discouraged, and questioning was met with reprimand. The weight of freedom. Anxiety and uncertainty in a new world. For ex-Sea Org members, freedom can feel like a heavy burden. The sudden expanse of choice and autonomy can be overwhelming. Imagine being released into a world you barely recognize. This is the disorienting reality faced by many former members. Everyday decisions can trigger anxiety and uncertainty. The absence of a structured routine can leave them feeling lost. Shadows of the past. Confronting trauma and abuse. For many ex-Sea Org members, the journey to healing involves confronting the trauma and abuse experienced during their time within the organization. While not every member endures physical or emotional abuse, the culture of control, manipulation, and fear creates an environment where such abuse can flourish. Stories of sleep deprivation, verbal harassment, and psychological manipulation are not uncommon. The pressure to conform, coupled with the constant threat of punishment and isolation, can take a severe toll on one's mental and emotional well-being. Leaving the Sea Org doesn't erase these experiences. The scars of trauma can linger for years, manifesting as anxiety, depression, PTSD, and a host of other mental health challenges. The process of healing often requires professional help, providing a safe and supportive space to process these experiences and begin to rebuild their lives. The courage it takes to confront these painful memories should not be underestimated. Speaking out against a powerful and often vindictive organization like the Church of Scientology can have serious personal and professional repercussions. Yet many former members have chosen to share their stories, shedding light on the dark underbelly of the Sea Org and offering support to others who have endured similar experiences. Finding solace. The long road to healing and reclaiming one's life. Healing from Sea Org membership is long and arduous, but paved with resilience, hope, and the indomitable human spirit. Rebuilding their lives becomes an act of defiance, a testament to their strength and desire to reclaim freedom. Support groups and online communities offer a lifeline, providing a safe space to connect and share experiences. Therapists specializing in cult recovery help unpack trauma and develop coping mechanisms. Healing is deeply personal and unfolds at its own pace. Reconnecting with family and friends, rebuilding relationships strained by the organization's policies, pursuing education, exploring new career paths, or rediscovering passions and interests. Each step forward, each act of self-discovery, helps reclaim their power, voice, and right to live freely.
Sarah's story declared suppressive, abandoned, and alone. I joined the Sea Org at 18, eager to dedicate my life to Scientology's mission. My family was deeply involved in the organization. Joining felt like a natural progression. For over a decade, I worked tirelessly, rising through the ranks, but doubts began to grow within me. Discrepancies and harsh treatments chipped away at my faith. Voicing concerns led to suspicion and accusations. I was labeled a suppressive person. Overnight, my world crumbled. Cut off from friends and family, I felt utterly alone. Forced to leave, I grappled with betrayal and loss.
Section 2. John's Journey. 2 decades lost, a lifetime to reclaim. My journey into the Sea Org began in my early 20s, searching for meaning and purpose. Drawn to Scientology's promises, I found solace in its teachings during a tumultuous period. What started as a search for answers quickly became an all-consuming commitment. For 2 decades, I dedicated my life to the organization, sacrificing relationships and personal freedom. I rose through the ranks, becoming a trusted member of the Sea Org. But as the years passed, a gnawing sense of unease took hold. The long hours and constant pressure took their toll. I witnessed the harsh realities and fear within the Sea Org. Doubts surfaced, whispering that I had made a terrible mistake. Leaving the Sea Org after 20 years was the most difficult decision. I faced an uncertain future with limited resources and regret. The guilt of leaving behind friends and a cause weighed heavily. Rebuilding my life at 40 was a daunting challenge. The world had moved on without me, leaving me feeling lost. But amidst the struggle, a spark of hope began to flicker.
The price of silence. When speaking out means losing everything, speaking out about the Church of Scientology is fraught with fear and uncertainty. The church employs aggressive legal tactics and intimidation to silence critics. Fair game policy justifies targeting perceived enemies, creating fear and self-censorship. Former members face harassment, character assassination, and legal battles. The price of silence forces ex-members to choose between well-being and truth. Some remain silent, fearing retribution, while others risk everything to speak out. Their courage inspires others to come forward, breaking down walls of secrecy. Section 4. Beyond the headlines. Stories of resilience and hope. While the challenges faced by ex-Sea Org members are undeniable, their stories are not solely defined by hardship and struggle. Amidst the tales of loss, betrayal, and abuse, there are also inspiring accounts of resilience, healing, and growth. Leaving the Sea Org marks the beginning of a profound journey of self-discovery. Free from restrictive doctrines, they embrace new experiences and rediscover their identities. Their journeys are a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the transformative power of hope. Navigating a world steeped in Scientology's shadow. Leaving the Sea Org creates the illusion of freedom, a shimmering mirage in the distance. Stepping back into the world, you expect open arms and fresh starts. But for many ex-members, the reality is far more complex. They trade the physical confines of the Sea Org for a world still subtly steeped in its influence. The fear of retribution doesn't simply evaporate. The Church of Scientology casts a long shadow. Even in a new life, former members can find themselves looking over their shoulders. This pervasive fear can be paralyzing. Building a new life requires trust. Rebuilding that trust is a daunting prospect. The insidiousness of this fear lies in its ability to permeate every aspect of life. Simple acts can trigger a wave of anxiety. True liberation requires conquering the invisible shackles of fear. Scars that never fully fade. The enduring impact of thought control. Leaving the Sea Org may sever visible ties, but the scars of thought control linger, a reminder of indoctrination's power. Unlearning beliefs and reclaiming thoughts requires immense courage, self-reflection, and often professional help. Imagine a mind hardwired to accept certain truths, rejecting critical thinking. This mental landscape doesn't transform upon leaving the organization. Reclaiming agency, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The challenges faced by ex-Sea Org members are undeniable, but their stories are also about resilience and healing. The journey to reclaim one's agency is long and arduous, fueled by an indomitable spirit and support from others. Support groups and online communities offer a lifeline, providing a safe space to connect and share experiences. Therapists help former members unpack trauma and navigate reintegration into society. Seeking help symbolizes rejecting isolation and embracing a brighter future. It's about reclaiming their lives, defined by their strength and resilience. The unseen walls of belief. As we've journeyed through the harrowing experiences of those who dared to leave the Sea Org, we've uncovered a truth far more profound than simply escaping a controversial organization. We've glimpsed the unseen walls of belief, the intricate systems of control that can ensnare the human spirit, and the immense courage it takes to break free and reclaim one's life. The stories shared in this exploration are not meant to demonize or condemn those who remain within the Church of Scientology, for belief systems, however complex or controversial, often provide a sense of belonging, purpose, and meaning in a world that can feel chaotic and uncaring. But these stories do serve as a stark reminder that unquestioning devotion to any ideology can come at a profound cost, a cost measured in lost relationships, shattered dreams, and the enduring scars of psychological manipulation. The Sea Org, with its paramilitary structure, its culture of secrecy, and its relentless pursuit of critics, represents an extreme example of how belief systems can be twisted into instruments of control. But the lessons learned from those who have escaped its grasp extend far beyond the confines of any single organization. They serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of critical thinking, the dangers of unchecked authority, and the vital need for empathy and understanding in a world grappling with diverse and often conflicting beliefs. The individuals who have shared their stories have done so at great personal risk, knowing that their words may be met with skepticism, disbelief, or even hostility. They have chosen to speak out, not to condemn, but to bear witness to the enduring power of the human spirit, the capacity for healing and growth, and the unwavering hope for a world where freedom of thought and belief are cherished, not suppressed. A call for empathy and understanding. Healing from cult trauma is rarely linear, marked by setbacks and emotional turmoil. It requires immense courage and resilience. Behind the headlines are real people grappling with their experiences. They are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, each carrying the weight of their past. Empathy should not be conditional on agreement. We can offer compassion and a willingness to listen. Support groups and therapists play a vital role. Let their stories serve as a call to action. For in the words of Maya Angelou, when we know better, we do better. By listening, we gain the empathy needed to create a better world.